Good day, everyone. My name is Drunken Leprechaun. I'm a Warbird instructor from Take Flight, and today we're going to be doing sort of like a familiarization flight for getting into Warbirds in this TF51D, which comes free with DCS. So if you're interested in flying a Warbird but don't quite know which one to get, or not quite sure you like it, and you just want to try it out first without dropping any cash and things like that, DCS comes with a free Warbird, the TF51D, essentially. It's essentially the PF51D without the guns, and it's pretty much a full fidelity aircraft. Everything in here that I can tell is fully functional and clickable, so it's great to start off to get your feet wet into the Warbirds. I am using a large resolution monitor and recording on a lower resolution. If I open up the options menu and you can't read the text, don't be alarmed. I'll read out what I'm doing verbally, everything, as much as I can to you. Um, so yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So this is going to be very basic, straightforward, high-level overview, everything from start to finish, from code start, taxi, takeoff, and landing. Not much to it in regards to the P51, well, this one, the TF51D, the training. If you don't have a checklist, you can find some checklists online. Just look for the PF51D checklist. It's the exact same interior. It's just missing the gyro, the fixed scopes, and the ability to load ordnance. So just look for the P51D checklist. It's interchangeable. It works just fine. If you don't have the checklist, you have some handy dandy checklists on board regards to certain procedures. They are poor, but you do have some checklists throughout the airframe, some takeoff landing settings. You have some engine limitation settings off the right hand side for you, nice and handy. And then you also have some airspeed limitations off to your left hand side for operating the aircraft safely, and how to engage the park and brake right below. Um, so you do have some interior checklists on board. So I'm going to hit the right shift K keybind to bring up the checklist already navigated to the knee board of my choosing. You're going to have to use the left and right brackets. I have some notes here I will bring up shortly while I'm reading off to you in regards to this familiarization flight with the Warbird. So let's get started with this checklist. This is a short handed checklist. There's no pre-flight checks on this checklist. There's our extended one right here. It has some pre-flight checks to ensure everything's on. I do not have any settings enabled to randomize system failures, and I didn't make any other adjustments. Everything else should be a perfectly fine in regards to starting up the aircraft. Should have a perfectly fine startup with the aircraft. So I'm just using a shorthand checklist right here. So first step, we want to set our flaps to the upward position. By default, the flaps are in the downward position. If you look off to your left hand side at the very bottom over here, it's this yellow painted metal knob lever. It's in the downward position by default. You just want to send it all the way forward, all the way up to the max upward position. It's not going to move. There's no hydraulic pressure flowing through the system right now, but as soon as we get some hydraulic pressure, we want those flaps to come fully up. Next up on the checklist is the carburetor ram air control lever to ram air. We want to set it to the ram air. This setting right here, the carburetor ram air control lever, is located on our left hand side. It's clearly marked on the left hand side as carburetor air control. It's this black left lever right here. It's moving right now on my screen. Apologies, I'm using a TrackR Pro system as well. If you do, I'm using again. Well, actually, I forgot to mention, I am using a TrackR Pro system. If you see my head moving around randomly like this, just please disregard. It's just a headset. We want to send this carburetor air control lever arm all the way fully forward to the ram air. Fully forward. So that is done. We want to set our rudder trim to 6 inches right. To do that, our rudder trim is located on our left hand side again, right in front of that carburetor air control. It's clearly indicated as rudder, this little black controlling knob. It's moving right now on my screen, as you can see. We want to set it, what did it say, to 6 inches to the right. So we just rotate it clockwise. You see this yellow indicator. We want to move it past the 5 just a little bit to about 6. Just say right there. Set elevator trim to anywhere between 2 to 4. Nose down. The elevator trim is clearly indicated as elevator trim on this big black wheel right here. We just want to send it clockwise forward to anywhere between 2 and 4. Just put it between 0 and 5. That looks good. Next up, we want to set the propeller RPM to be fully forward. The propeller RPM knob, or lever, I should say, it's kind of hidden behind the throttle, but you can see it moving right now on my screen. It has a clear indicator of a P for propeller. You just want to send that fully forward. Next up, we can skip the, next up is crack the throttle open 1/2 inch or 1 inch. The throttle is located on our left hand side by that propeller. We just want to move that forward slightly, just like a 1/2 inch like that, so, and just leave it there. When we start up the engine, it can catch properly. Next steps, we're going to skip these as this is only for the P51, the gun sights. So next step is set park and brake on. To do that, this is a two-step process. We want to use the wheel brake keybind for both wheel brakes as such. Just the wheel brake, it should be called the wheel brake keybind. You want to hold that down. You can see right here. Depress the pedals. And then what we want to do next is hold the wheel brake lock button. You see that park and brake come out as such. Here, I'll do it again. See the word park brake. Press the wheel brake lock keybind. That comes out. While I'm holding that with the wheel brake increase. So I'm going to just do those both those procedures again, both again at the same time right now. Wheel brake holding. Wheel brake lock holding. Next up, I'm going to release the wheel brakes. You see they come up. And then I can release the wheel brake lock, and it should remain pulled out, and that indicates that the wheel brake system is engaged. The park and brake system is engaged. Next up, we want to turn on our fuel. That is located behind our stick in this bottom, right at the very bottom of the console, right by our feet here on the left-hand side. It says fuel. It says black box with a white outline that says fuel shut off and on. Left click it into the upward position into the on position. Next up, we need to set the fuel booster to on. It's located on the bottom left hand side of the instrument panel. It's clearly indicated as fuel booster. It's in the off position by default. Left click it into the onward position. Next up, you want to set the ignitions to both, which is again now located on the center, right behind the stick, off to the left. You will see both LR off ignition. It's this little knob with an indicator going down on it. You're just going to left click it all the way to both. Next up is we're going to turn on the battery and turn on the generator. Both of those switches are located on the right hand side here with all these other switches. You have two rows of switches. You can see here the top is the on position. If you zoom in, it should be the top row of switches, and the left two switches that says generator and bat on it. We want to turn on the battery first. You hear some indicator. The battery electrical services are turning on. Just let it run for about 2 seconds. Then go ahead and swap on the generator. Alright, and that we are good to go. You just let the generator run for a few seconds. Alright, everything turned off. We are all set with that. Next up, we need to prime the engine. We're going to hold down the primer for about 3 to 4 seconds. Just do 4 seconds, just 4 simple Mississippis. Primer is located on the left-hand side. It's indicated as primer. It's in the off position. So what you're going to do is left-click and hold it in the on position for 4 seconds. Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4. When you're doing that, you may hear a slight tone indicating the primer is engaged. Okay, next up is going to be a two-step process. We are going to skip this step here. This step, for some reason, is inaccurate. What we're going to do is hold the starter in the onward position. When we do that, the propellers will spin. You eventually hear the engine trying to catch, and when you do hear the engine trying to catch, you're going to use the keybind for the mixture control. You want to bring it from idle to run, and then the engine should catch and run just fine by itself. So to do that, we come down here to the left-hand side. We see here starter. Let's get a cover on it. We need to left-click it to reveal the switch for it. It's in the off position. So again, what's going to happen is I'm going to left-click and hold that in the upward position. I'm going to see the propeller spin. I'm going to hear it. Hear the engine try to start to catch. I'm going to throw the mixture into the run position. So I'm going to go ahead and execute that procedure right now. It heard a catch, threw it in the on position, the mixture control, and we are running. You see the flaps coming up by themselves. Everything's running just fine. I'm going to bring the throttle, as mentioned on my checklist, back down to idle. And then I can complete the rest of my checklist, which is simple settings such as uncaged gyro, the attitude. It's simple. You just put your mouse wheel over it and scroll it, and unlocks it. We can close the canopy. I'm going to leave it open. Actually, I'll close it so you can hear me, just in case. But ideally, you can leave it open to poke your head out to help you with taxiing and things of that nature. All right, now comes the waiting game. As mentioned, there is a checklist off on the right-hand side here. Below it, it makes mention of takeoff conditions. We need to wait for an oil temperature of 15 degrees and an oil coolant temperature of 60 degrees. You're mainly going to be waiting on the coolant radiator temperature to get to 60. That is located right here on the right instrument panel, clearly indicated as coolant temp. It's currently sitting around probably 30 something degrees. You're going to have to sit here and wait for that coolant temp to rise up to just past the 50. The other temperatures should be fine. It's already at 25, almost 30 degrees. You're always going to be waiting on the coolant temperature. If you're getting impatient for it to get to the 60 degrees, you can rev the engine by putting the throttle, some boost, and having it sit safely around just under 1300 for a bit. You can sort of have it sit here at in a safe manner to help it increase in temperature faster. Just going to bring it back down, see what other things we can talk about. I'm just going to close my cover, just make sure I don't click the starter again. Let's talk about some fuel management. Here is our management of our fuel system. We currently do not have any drop tanks installed. I'm hitting the comms menu, going to ground crew, rearm, refuel. Yeah, just as I thought, you actually can't install anything, including fuel tanks. But essentially, you can either do two things. You can swap between left and right constantly, or just let the left fuel tank deplete first, and then swap over to the right-hand tank, then the fuselage tank. Just be cognizant that as the fuel depletes on our left wing, there's going to be less weight. You're going to have to adjust for it during flight in regards to trim or pure roll stick control. When it comes to landing, you want to select the fuel tank that has the most fuel in it, just for obvious safety reasons. You don't want to run out of fuel while coming in on your final approach. Be cognizant though when you do select the fuselage tank, as it bleeds fuel, the weight will shift, I believe from the front to the back per se. The weight will shift. You'll notice a change in elevation with your trim. with the fuselage. So just be cognizant of that if you're using that for landing. Okay, so next up, just letting it. We can go over some navigation settings here. Let's see. We have our altitude. Altitude. There's two ways we can set this. We can just simply zero it out to our current airfield as it currently is, or we can use the pressure settings in the briefing page, the mercury settings and whatnot. I can do that right now by hitting the escape key, going to the briefings page. Again, if you can't read the text, don't worry. The temperature and the pressure readings and all that jazz is located towards the bottom usually. There's usually a weather section or a nice chart. The P51 here is using the NHE setting. It's reading a 2992. So I can come here and 2992, rotate this until this solid indicator gets to about 2992. 29.9, it should be by 0.2s. And it's kind of hard, it's shaking. I'm just going to zoom out so you don't get nauseous looking at that. As I was just getting nauseous. Okay, so that's that in regards to navigation. We have a gyro compass here. Oh, and this might be something that's not functioning in regards to the TF51D. It looks so... Oh, sorry, we gotta click it in first. Sorry, I'm actually just seeing if there's a an onboard magnetic compass. Just double checking if there's an onboard magnetic compass here. While we're looking here, we have our fuel capacity mounts here. Total capacity. It's like we're looking at 60 gallons, 60 gallons on the right hand side, and then again on the left hand side, on the footwell here, you have your left hand tank capacity reading. It's weird, and then the tanks I believe are somewhere in the back. It's in the weird position. The tank indicator. It doesn't look like we have a onboard compass, magnetic compass. I'm just giving it a quick scan. Interesting. I have to get in the P51, see if the P51 has a magnetic compass. Alright, so we can simply, we want to make sure this is on the magnetic heading. A lot of people use magnetic headings. We can get that simply by hitting the F10 map in our case. And just see what our magnetic heading is. It's looking like 212. So just click this in and rotate it to 212. That's 210. That looks about right. Next up, let's see if this is functioning in the TF51. Yep, this knob right here is a course setting heading knob. And this is odd because this is a repeater compass, so it's showing the magnetic heading, which should be based off of. You know what? There must be something behind that we can't see. The compass is internal, but you can see you can adjust this to give us, like, say, a course heading. You want to, like, the runway per se. I can do that right now. Set it to the runway that we're gonna come back on, which is runway 04. Looking at 032 for the magnetic heading. So I can set this to, say, 032 for when we come back to land, which is almost the complete opposite of our current heading. The current heading is the pointier end of this solid white needle. And let's take a look at our temperature. We're looking good at 60 degrees, so we can go ahead and start to taxi. Just going to take a look at some other checklists here, see if there's anything else I'm missing in regards to anything we want to do prior to taxiing or during taxi. Nope, nothing here. Let's actually turn on that PTOT heat. It should be on the right hand side here, I believe. On the right hand side, one thing we can do is turn on the PTOT heat. I always turn this on no matter what, regardless whether it's warm or not. It's just doesn't really hurt if it's too warm, not that I can tell. The PTOT heat ensures our instruments don't freeze up during flight. Again, that's located on our right hand side. The top row of switches, it's labeled as PTOT heat. It's the 1, 2, 3, fourth one in. Alright, so let's go ahead and start the taxi. To taxi in the TF51 or the PF51, the Mustang, I'll just call it the Mustang going forward. To taxi in the Mustang, there's two ways we can taxi essentially. We can taxi with like simple pure rudder inputs. I have my notes up here. Essentially, if you keep it neutral or have the stick slightly aft, it keeps the tail, the tail wheel to 6-degree turns. That's essentially just like turning with the rudder. You can also turn with just differential brake, left and right, to help you turn. Or to make sharp turns, just make sure you're not going fast, or just be careful while I'm doing this. You can, overdo it and do something to the airframe that wasn't intended. To make sharp turns, we can push the stick forward, and then use the rudder, and then use differential brake to make a sharp turn. You do it in that order in order to execute that procedure. Stick must be forward first, rudder in the direction you want, and then same differential brake in the same direction to make a sharp turn. When doing that, you'll hear a noticeable tone when I push the stick forward. Nice little click. And same thing when I push the stick in the aft position. Noticeable click. And I'll mention this while we're standing still. Take note of how we're looking right now, like our angle of view. When we come in for a landing, we want to look for a 3-point landing. So essentially, you want to look like this while coming in the runway, or slightly less or more forward, I would say. I suggest aiming for like a 2 3/4 or 2.5 point landing. We want to, when I say 3-point landing, have all three wheels touch down at once at the same time. That's quite hard to do. So if anything, aim for like a 2.5, 2 3/4 point landing. You can land the Warbirds in a 2-point landing configuration, some of them. However, you can see that the propellers are quite large. You risk smacking the tarmac with your propellers and breaking them while doing a 2-point landing if you're not proficient in it. And it's a nose-heavy aircraft. It tends to point forward. Most of the Warbirds tend to point forward. So without further ado, for some reason it put me on the grass over here a little bit, so I might have some difficulty taxiing, but let's give it a shot. So I'm just gonna taxi to the end of over here. Let's leave the stick neutral for now. Give it a little bit of a running. Disengage the parking. And bring it back down to 1100 RPM. While taxiing, I want to leave it below 1100 RPM. So I'm just using some rudder. Get back on the tarmac. That's just simple rudder right there. Again, simple rudder. I'm going to use differential brake. Just differential brake. Just a brake. Alright, I'm going to try a sharp turn. Stick forward. Rudder. Brake. I wasn't going fast enough, so it didn't really do anything. But I just applied some simple throttle, and it's still in that sharp turn mode because I didn't apply opposite direction. So when you do that sharp turn setting, you're gonna have to apply opposite setting, the opposite differential brake, to bring it back, essentially. But you can see that the when I was using the brakes, the tail wheel came up a bit. So just be careful while taxiing, making turns in the Mustang using the sharp turn settings or differential brake in regards to your speed. And it looks like we're lagging here a bit. I apologize. So I'm going to use that sharp turn setting, stick forward, rudder, brake, applying some gas. applying, tap the brake again, letting go. So, so see again, just be careful. Almost that almost turned badly for me. It would have been a quick video. So now I'm just gonna try to center up on the runway, get as much as centered as I possibly can, give myself some wiggle room. The Mustang, the Allied Warbirds, sorry, the USA Warbirds, are more have better handling than the RAF Warbirds. So we shouldn't have to be dancing on our rotor pedals as much and things of that nature in the Mustang and the Thunderbolt compared to the Spitfire and Mosquito. These have better controls in regards to handling. But regardless, center up as much as possible. Once you do get centered, let the airframe roll forward a bit. When I say let the airframe roll forward a bit, you want that tail wheel to be as straight as possible. It will turn left and right while you're turning, so if you just center it up after a turn, that tail wheel will be pointing to the left or right, and that'll just make your life harder in regards to takeoff. So while we're here, let's go to our takeoff settings. We want to first, you can either hold down the wheel brakes or engage the parking brake system. I'll just engage the parking brake system for the time being. Alright, parking brakes engaged. Alright, let's go over some takeoff parameters. We want to have our flaps. We can take off with no flaps. If you do use flaps, it's either 10 or 20 based on weight. I'll just do 10 down. While doing our takeoff here, we see there is on our right hand side, if you don't have it written down on a checklist or whatnot, it should be here. Takeoff only mode. So this is our takeoff max setting of 3,000 RPM fully forward and 61 manifold pressure. Our that pressure reading is up here on the top right hand side of our center instrument panel. Manifold pressure. So our max setting, essentially that red line right there, is our max setting that we want to be at in regards to the airframe limitations that is recommended for takeoff. During our takeoff, we keep the stick in the full aft position, and we keep it there until we reach about 60 miles per hour. The airspeed indicator is off to our left hand side here on the center instrument panel on the left hand side. It's in miles per hour. So once it reaches just past the 50, let the stick come centered gradually, nice and gently. So while we're keeping the stick aft, what we're going to do is rev the throttle, the engine, pretty much. You bring the throttle, you're gonna have it rev at 35 with the brakes engaged. Once we get to 35 manifold pressure with the brakes engaged, you disengage the brakes. So essentially we're just getting the airframe a nice rolling start. And then we gradually increase the manifold pressure throttle to 61. You may not have to get to 61 before takeoff. With regards to our weight, most likely not. You probably experience a takeoff quite sooner. But that is our max setting. Once we do get up in the air, the landing gear comes up just immediately as soon as we have a positive rate of climb. And then we probably wait for around 160, 170 miles per hour, a nice safety speed to lift up our flaps if they are in the downward position, to ensure that we are gaining altitude, increasing in altitude until we get to a nice safe speed and we can retract those. So I'll go over some flight info while we're here. You can see on my notes, and there's again limitations about some parameters of how we want our engine to be operating at. We have a max continuous setting of 2,700 RPM in 46 manifold, and a rich max cruise, sort of a cruise continuous of 24 or 36 for settings. Our climbing profile should be 46 at 2,700, so essentially that max continuous is also going to be used for climbing. It's a good climbing setting. And once we reach our assigned altitude, just use that cruise. Quite clear just use that clear indicator of cruise setting. In the Mustang, we have a supercharger on board. The supercharger is located on the bottom left-hand side. It's covered by a cover right now, the red cover. It's in the auto position by default. You can read it right here. By default, sorry, not by default, it's in the auto position. It'll automatically swap gears for you. The supercharger is a 2-gear setting, low and high gear, essentially, pretty much. It will swap gears for you anywhere between 14,000 and 19,000 feet, and that's all based on the air pressure. As you increase in altitude, it'll make that determination for you. That would only occur if there's an issue in regards to manually setting it into the low mode. If you have any issues on board and it's not swapping out of its high gear, just go ahead and manually set it yourself. Alright, so without further ado, one other thing, I'll take it off in the Warbirds, also in the Mustang. We sort of let the airframe take off by itself. We do not try to flare it up or do drastic aft. If anything, we give it slight aft, we help it up a little bit and essentially let it take off by itself by pure airlift generation. If you try to drastically pull it up, right, there's not a lot of thrust on this thing. It's just a single engine propeller. We're traveling slow. You will bleed a lot of airspeed, start to stall the aircraft and run into an issue. So just very gently start pulling aft on the stick. In regards to rotation, we're probably going to start rotating at 80 miles per hour in the Mustang based on our current weight. So once it essentially after you let the stick come center, just after 50, give it a few seconds. Once you see it get close to, get to 80, just start to slightly, very slightly, very little, start to pull, give it aft, until you notice it starting to come up, and then just hold it. Just watch if you need to give it more aft or point it down and whatnot. So again, you just want the airframe to sort of lift off by itself vertically. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's go ahead and take off, and then I'll pause the video, go over landing, and we'll call it a day. So holding stick aft, holding my wheel brake key bind, which just disengaged the parking brake for me, and be ready to dance on the rudder pedals. Again, the Mustang, the USA Warbirds have more control, but again, just be ready to dance on the rudder pedals. I'm gonna hit right control enter so you can see my controller input on the left. So here we go. Bring it throttle forward to 35. Releasing brakes. Apply for throttle. Going left, applies right rear. Letting the stick come center. Applied some aft. So we rotated at about 100. Started to rotate at 100. Gears coming up. Flaps coming up. And I'm going to start trimming for level flight. And I'm going to bring the settings down to a cruise speed of 36. And the RPM's down to about 24. You see in the Mustang we have some nice indicators, some nice green indicators of normal operating range, of good operating range. You can see I'm rotating to the right a little bit. We have here a slip indicator on our bottom, on the center instrument panel towards the bottom left. The top is aileron roll. That white stick is indicating the aileron roll, and the black dot there is indicating slippage. So if the black dot is off to the left, I need to apply more left rudder trim. So I'm going to apply some more left rudder trim. I'm just going to adjust for the rudder trim first, as it doesn't look like I'm really rolling per se. I'm going to just adjust the rudder trim. Let's see what happens after that. That looks pretty good. Runway's still over there. Alright, so we're going to just immediately turn back towards the runway and we'll start doing a landing procedure. So I'm going to pause the video really quick and just read out the landing procedure so you can hear me. So I know you can probably see it right here. We have some landing info here. We can skip that part. So I didn't really check the wind. We're just going to do full flaps in regards to our setting parameters. But here is the procedure. We're not doing any pattern today. We're going to simply, at this current moment, start to drop down to 170 miles per hour. Once we get to that point, we can drop our gear, then our flaps. We have right here as well landing gear. It says 170 on this as well. I wasn't sure if I was just playing it safe. I just rounded it down to 160. 170 miles per hour, gear down. At 160, our flaps come fully down. Down here in MISC, you see here a gliding speed of 125 miles per hour. So I would recommend, in regards to safety, you can say 120 or 125 based on weight. We're very light here. We're going to do a 120 miles per hour on approach, and I'm going to be aiming for 105 per se, 110 over the threshold. I'll aim for about 105 miles per hour over the threshold just for safety. And then we're going to be, based on our weight, looking at like 90 miles, 92 per se for touchdown for that 3-point landing. Essentially, you want the Warbirds, this Mustang, to sort of stall on itself and just land like a foot over the runway. Over the runway. You just want it sort of like just come down on it by itself in a 3-point configuration. So again, the runway is behind us. We're going to just start reducing speed and starting this procedure. In regards to after we land, we avoid using the wheel brakes until we're going very slow to avoid flipping the airframe over on itself or damaging the wheels. It's just going to be rudder input to help it slow it down, going back and forth if needed, or these have very small ailerons. You can pull up on the stick after you're going slow enough to increase drag and things like that. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to unpause the video and go through this sort of procedure. In regards to settings, I didn't say it out loud. What's listed there, RPM can be set to 2700 or max. I'm just going to set the RPMs to max. And while we're going through this procedure, we're going to trim for a level flight all the way to the approach speed of 120 miles per hour, and then we don't really have to touch the trim, or hopefully don't have to touch the trim. So I'm just letting it slightly get down to a speed, because as soon as I start dropping the flaps especially, it's going to reduce speed a lot. So I'm just going to let it come down slowly. I'm dropping the gear now. Alright, I'm going to set my RPMs to fully forward. Alright. Flaps coming down. Just gotta click it a few times all the way down. Alright, monitoring my speed. Make sure I'm not dropping too slow. Just want to maintain, again, like as I mentioned, 125 per se. Try to maintain 120 on the approach. And I'm going to be aiming for like 105 over the threshold for safety. In regards to the Caucasus map, a lot of these runways are very long. You don't need that much runway per se for executing a landing. So I'm just going to give myself a little wiggle room to play with. In regards to your approach, you can start from a high altitude and point the nose down to keep the runway in sight. As mentioned, we're looking for a 3-point landing, so as soon as just gonna do it right now. You can see in my sort of like a 3-point landing, I can't even see the runway. So you can start in a higher altitude, keep your nose pointed down, and keep the runway in sight, lined up. Or you can execute a pattern-like approach where you keep the runway pretty much in sight all the way until you're over the threshold. So the pattern in the Warbirds is it's a very close-knit pattern. You're essentially right after you finish your turn, you're right over the threshold and you're landing. So I'm not going to go over that right now though. I'm just going to do a straight-in approach. We're pretty high up. Just going to keep my nose pointed down for the time being. Pretty high up. So I am increasing the speed as I'm coming into a dive here. I wouldn't come in this high, see how we do here. But I'm not really playing with my throttle because as soon as I pull up, I'm going to start bleeding a lot of speed. I'll just sort of account for that during my glide to touchdown. Back on the throttle a little bit. Applying some left trim. Alright, start flaring. Alright, so now I'm just going to sort of let it hover. Coming in a bit fast. Cut the engine. Bounce a little bit. Alright, so I think I'm just going to overshoot the tarmac here, the runway. But I just came in a bit high. Sticks fully aft in the back. Just gonna play with the rudder here to slow myself down. Increase some drag with the rudder. Just increasing drag with the rudder, going back and forth here. Just using the left rudder input. Just gonna slow myself down. Start tapping the wheel brakes because I'm approaching the end here. Just I'm not even like putting it fully forward. Apply some left. Alright, so that was a little bit less than ideal. I came in too high on that one, and but I still made it. So as mentioned, I overshot the runway quite a bit, as you see, but I was still able to make it kind of safely. Just had to apply some more drag and things of that nature. So don't be too afraid to overshoot that threshold. You have plenty of runway. This is probably not even the longest runway on the Caucasus map. So it's probably about normal or slightly shorter. It's about normal. But there you have it. From start to finish, cold start, taxi, takeoff, and landing. I won't go over the shutdown procedures, but that's simple enough in regards to looking up a checklist. But that's it. That's a familiarization flight with a Warbird and the free TF51D here at the Mustang. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and hope you look into getting into the Warbirds.